My name is Ben Moote. I graduated in fall of 2012. I got a job with Overstock.com as I graduated. I was finishing up online. I just done an internship and got the job at Overstock, and it's been amazing. Typical day at Overstock for me. I'm a demand management analyst, which is pretty much I analyze inventory levels and I work on making sure the business is healthy. I go into grabbing reports that we need at the beginning of the week. I run replenishment on items that we need, make sure that those are on an order by the end of the week. And then in between there, a lot of ad hoc. You have the buyers pointing to me and asking, well, what is our business doing here? Is there an area for growth here? Why are we down over in this area? And it then becomes my job to state, okay, here are a lot of numbers. What in the world does that mean? And where can I glean from that? When you're in corporate, your job, especially at the beginning, is to be an analyst, is to figure out how the business works, where the inventory should go. And then from that point, you can grow into forecasting team, you can grow into your pricing team, you can become a manager, and then you can grow into there. Analytics is a huge world that you can really expand. Skill sets that are most important to the job, you have to understand Excel. Excel is a basic. It's getting to the point where it doesn't matter what job you're going to get, you have to understand Excel. We have people who are applying just for a buyer's assistant job, which is you're coming out of school, maybe with a fashion degree or something like that. And if you don't understand Excel, you don't understand how to, make a report in the least for somebody else, or understand a data set, you're not going to get anywhere. I'm a very visual person. I love marketing. I love the whole idea of marketing. And it was like, you know what? I love marketing. I love, doing artwork, things like that. But it came down to, if I'm in the company, I want to be able to say at the end of the day, I made a difference. At the end of the day, you know what? I made extra profit for the company by doing this. Because I took supply chain emphasis, we're working on a project that's going to make our inventory more profitable. And I can state at the end of the day, you know what? We got this done, and then that's going to make us so much more profitable. And I know that by the numbers, and I can quantify it. One thing that's embedded deeply in supply chain is the idea of process improvement. And you need this anywhere. I don't care where you are, if you're in finance, if you're in marketing, whatever you're doing. You have to be able to say at the end of the day, you know what, we're doing it this way stinks. There's a whole better way that we need to do this if we could just turn our head and see this a different way. And supply chain is directly involved with making that happen. Supply chain modeling, supply chain risk analysis, and global sourcing is amazing. Global sourcing helped me really open my eyes to how the process can work, where you're working with the supply chain to understand the entire supply chain. You're working with the manufacturer, you're working with the supplier who works with the manufacturer, and you're trying to understand everything down the line. So that way you can do your best job at stating, yes, we're going to have what we need when we need it, and we're not going to have too much of it when we don't. You're going to need to know how in the world to change and manipulate these numbers to make sense and create a story. People don't understand numbers. People understand a story. So taking those numbers and creating a story out of it is really important. I actually found that in the supply chain emphasis, when I was in it, there were a ton of case studies that we did. And it was always, okay, here's the issue, here's the story, backstory, this is the issue. And it was like, get into the numbers, which is different. They provide a ton of numbers. You grab the numbers, you kind of put it into Excel, you analyze it this way, that way, say, well, we could do it this way, and you figure out the best solution, and then you have to tell that story. Learning and practicing in that way was extremely beneficial.